Hey folks, it's Roy from A Geek's Adventures. Woohoo! Hi! Got another posting for you. This time just doing a little homage. A homage to a cartoon from the 80s. Yeah, it's that old stuff. Okay. But it's not Voltron! Really? Believe it or not, there were a couple, actually there were very few robots out during the 80s when you get past once you get past Voltron and Transformers. I mean, after that, it's kind of this funky mishmash of stuff. I mean, anybody remember GoBots? Oh yeah. For one brief shining moment, some toy company and animation house thought they had a chance of dethroning Hasbro and the Transformers. Foolish mortals that they were. Actually, there's an interesting connection to this whole thing. Same thing with the cartoons. It seemed like the time was ripe. Hey, we'll put out more stuff. It's like after Star Wars came out, after Lord of the Rings, let's put out more stuff. Someone's gonna want it. Weird things happen. As fans of Percy Jackson and whatever the heck the rest of the title is, or fans of the Chronicles of Narnia will tell you, hope springs eternal, and then it dries up like a prune. Case in point, Mighty Orbots. It was an ABC cartoon in the 80s. Let's see here. The animation was made mostly in Japan. It's funny when you look at the credits. It's like something out of Macross. The story, pretty simple. Far future, aliens, scientists designed giant robot because giant, big, ominous bad guys showed up. Lots of monsters, blah, 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 blah. The neat thing about it was actually the Japanese animation. The story was made in America, but the animation was all done in Japan. So you were looking at some freaky character designs. The robots were nowhere near the traditional kind of boring stuff you would see in America. I mean, seriously, just major funky looking designs and ships and everything. It was actually beautiful to see. So what happened if it's so amazing? Lawsuit. It lasted for 13 episodes, I believe, on ABC. And the people who designed, actually, ironically enough, the GoBots sued. And everyone kind of wondered, what the hell are you talking about? Because the designs are totally different. Until... if you do a lot of poking around, you will see early character designs for the Orbots. I mean, basically, it's 5 robots merging into one thing. One of the designs looks very similar to a giant mech called God Sigma. Really creepily similar. Even the transformation, the two of the robots become the arms, and 2 of them become the legs, which I know sounds kind of elementary, but little too similar. And if you're really lucky, do a lot of poking around Google, you will find prototype shots of the toy line they're creating. Ooh, oops. So unfortunately, the show crashed and burned. The closest thing you get to release through official means was release on VHS, and even then, all 13 were not released. What? Ah! Unfortunately, through other means like YouTube, you can see actually all 13 episodes. So, dorky old guys like me are so melancholy about those days. The whole gist of the series was that the 5 robots were created by a scientist named Rob, and each robot had special powers. There was 2 female robots. There were the arms. Bo and Boo. One was orange, one was red. Let's see here. Bo had abilities over the elements, is the way they describe it. So she was like the offensive firepower of the giant robot. Boo had abilities over telekinesis and illusions and other nebulous stuff that sounded kind of cool in a cartoon. She was kind of like the defensive force. The 2 legs were two robots. One was black. That was Crunch. He could consume any type of matter and become a power source, which sounds kind of dorky, and yeah, we'll kind of go there, kind of borderline offensive, because he was this chubby looking robot just eating stuff all the time, but he was the power source. So he was actually pretty important. Bort was the blue guy, the other leg, and he had the ability to basically transform into anything, which sounds kind of weird, but anything as in tools, as in weapons. So actually very important. In the middle part, the red guy was Tor, and he was this giant hulking, kind of bruising, kind of dumb jock kind of robot. Yeah, we're hitting lots of archetypes at this point, and cliches and stereotypes are kind of now. And they were all under. Let's see here. They were all kind of being nursed by oh gosh, what was her name? Oh no, this little female robot. Um, who was also she was the ignition source for Mighty Orbots. I know it sounds crazy. Oh, and all these robots were fighting this nebulous, spooky, evil organization called Shadow, which was led by a planet-sized supercomputer called Umbra with 6 eyes and all sorts of kind of creepy. I'm serious, freaky designs. The whole base of Shadow is actually in a Dyson sphere. I mean, it was really kind of cool. Which probably was what the downfall of the series was. That as much as it was kind of kiddifying things and using lots of stereotypes and tropes, a lot of the stuff was pretty far afield at the time. So, and another reason where things were kind of shaky. Oh, shameless plug. As far as the origin, there really is an origin for where they came from. I wrote one as fanfic. If you go to LiveJournal, look for Dark Knight 2010, DARKKNIGHT 2010. It's under the title of the fanfic is Mighty Orbots Ignition, or if you just do a Google search, Mighty Orbots Ignition. That was my take on their origin. Shameless plug. Like this isn't a giant shameless plug. And talking about, and actually it's not just an origin story, but also does a little primer at the end of the abilities of the Orbots, yada yada yada. So like I said, lots of fellow fans still remember the show fondly. So of course, gotta make stuff, right? And basically the robot looked cool. So hey, I can make miniatures. So that's what I did. The first one I ever made was this little dude. He's based on a mech warrior mech. Oh yeah. Fist is missing because I dropped him and the fist broke off. So somewhere in my workshop there's a little fist. It's kind of sad. But yeah. So he kind of moves it. Little bit of movement. Yay! And of course, time passes, and this is still not quite everything I wanted to be. So I kit bashed. This used to be the Titanium series of Transformers. I picked up their version of Jetfire, which was whatever. Time passed. It was sitting in a box. Kit bashing time! Woo! And as you see, it's much bigger, which was kind of cool. I added more flourishes and a little spikes here, a little additional little thingies here, and a little spiky thing here, and he's sitting on this giant stand that's meant to look like an alien landscape. Little bit, barely more articulation, but it was all fun. And he can even do a flying pose, see? Woo! Actually, this is kind of the way he flew in Mighty Orbots, too. Then, time passes yet again, and of course, you still need more. So, of course, went all really manga with this kind of really manga-looking version of him. This is a manga spawn from the manga spawn line from the 90s. Such a wonderful toy line. And I kind of went ape on this. Added a lot of extra flourishes here and there. A lot of little vents and little cooling pipes, tubes, whatever you want to call it. Some extra engine in the back. Because you got to have more engines, right? Little flourishes on the attack side. This is where Bo would be on this side, so I got a little spiky thing, and there's like a little shieldy thing on this side because this is Boo, where she does her defenses and stuff. Taking a cue from the fact that Bort can transform things and kind of create extra parts, and I mentioned this in my fanfic where he decides that when he fights Umbra, he takes on all these things, becomes this giant, massive robot, and I'm like, what if I did something similar? So what I did, and because I have extra parts lying around because I'm crafting, I made an exoskeleton. Yes, the giant robot has armor. Yeah, I made armor for a giant robot toy. I'm a geek. It's what we do, and I'm a mech geek. That makes it worse. So, and besides, this is kind of what Power Rangers did. So hey, so the way it's set up is that, let's see, this comes up. Here goes the legs. Legs going down here. Oops, sorry. So legs are supposed to go in there. Come on. You see, this is how Julia Child did stuff when she was doing her cooking show back in the day when things would get kind of weird, you know? It's like, yep, this is what happens in everybody's kitchen. This is what also happens in everybody's YouTube video. Yay! See? Legs. And this part comes up. So you see, hypothetically speaking, these parts would all be something that Bort would create. Roy, where do you get the mass for all of this stuff? Read the story! I actually explain how. That's what happens when you're a mecha geek and also a former engineering student. You actually think of some of this stuff. And you stare at enough of sciencey stuff that doesn't involve ancient aliens on Discovery Channel. And doesn't hurt you keep on reading enough Star Trek and other junk, so hey. Okay, so here we go. See? Here we go, see. Fits in here. There we go, come on. Think Tony Stark goes through this when he puts on armor? Actually, probably does. You know, you hear Jarvis going, Sir, will you stop moving around so much? I can't put the armor on when you keep doing that. Thank you. All right. Ooh, almost there. See? And it fits. There. Almost. There we go. See? Giant armor. Now you're wondering, so did you ever make an Umbra? Actually, I did. It's kind of lame. From the same line, I forget what the name of the character was, but there was another character was the bad guy. So I built this thing. This is the figure from the line itself, and I slapped on all this extra stuff on top of it. So he's got this kind of big centaur kind of thing going, yada, yada, yada. This has officially gone into the, we got to work some more on this later bin. So, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's just kind of, you know, I don't know if I may have mentioned this with one of my other pieces, is that, you know, when you build stuff, sometimes it's brilliant. You know, the muse just kind of goes, oh, you know. Other times the muse just goes, well, here. And it looks like you gave a 5-year-old high on 17,000 tons of sugar a hot glue gun, and you get. So anyway, there you go. That is my homage to Mighty Orbots. Will anything come of it? Probably not, because after the lawsuit, probably no one wants to touch it. The good news, though, is, you know, the influence from it will be forever. I mean, you know, between Mighty Orbots, between 5 tons of transforming mecha and whatnot, people always remember, and that will always touch the work that's out there. So, they'll always be remembered. Yay! So, there you go. Y'all have a good day. And may the force be with you. May the odds forever be in your favor. And as always, be good to each other, right, folks? Actually, yeah, in light of what happened Palm Sunday in Egypt, let's be really, really, really good to each other, all right, folks? Just saying. Peace. Seriously. Peace. All right? Wow. Sorry, I got really serious, didn't I? Sorry. Spur of the moment. You'll take care, all right? Bye.